Your dog doesn't experience time the way you do, and it's because of you. That's not a metaphor. It's not just a cute thing to say. It's actually happening every single day in ways most dog owners never stop to think about. And once you understand it, the way you look at your dog will never be quite the same. We spend so much of our lives watching the clock. You wake up, check the time, plan your morning around it. You know exactly how long your commute takes, how many hours until lunch, how many minutes until a meeting ends. Time, for us, is this invisible structure that holds the whole day together. We swim in it so naturally that we forget it's even there. But here's the thing. Your dog has absolutely no access to any of that. No clock, no calendar, no concept of I'll be back in 2 hours. And yet, your dog is constantly, deeply, emotionally affected by the passage of time. Just not in the way you'd expect. So how does a dog actually experience time? Scientists and animal behaviorists have been poking at this question for years, and what they've found is fascinating. Dogs don't measure time in minutes or hours. They don't count. They don't think it's been a while. Instead, they live inside a completely different kind of clock, one built out of 3 things: routine, scent, and your presence. Let's start with routine, because this one surprises people. Dogs are incredibly sensitive to pattern, not because they are smart in the way we think of smart, but because their entire survival, emotionally and physically, depends on predictability. When the same things happen in the same order at roughly the same time every day, your dog builds an internal rhythm around that. They know, somehow, that the afternoon walk is coming. They know when dinner is close. They start to anticipate your arrival home before you've even turned onto your street. Researchers believe dogs may use circadian rhythms, their internal biological clock, to track these patterns. It's not magic, it's biology, but it functions as their version of a schedule. Then there's scent. This one is mind-bending when you really sit with it. A dog's nose is estimated to be anywhere from 10,000 to 100,000 times more sensitive than ours. And one of the things they use that extraordinary sense of smell for is tracking time. Not in an abstract way, but in a very literal, physical way. When you leave the house in the morning, your scent lingers. It's strong at first, like you just stepped out. But over the hours, it fades. It dissipates. And your dog can smell that happening. They can smell the difference between you left 20 minutes ago and you've been gone for 6 hours. Your scent trail is, essentially, their clock. As it fades, the distance between them and you grows, not just physically, but in a way they can actually detect with their body. And then there's presence. Yours specifically. This is where it gets really emotional. Because for your dog, you are not just a person they like. You are the organizing principle of their entire world. Think about what a dog's life actually consists of. They don't have jobs. They don't have hobbies they pursue independently. They don't scroll through their phones or make plans with friends. Their world is structured almost entirely around you. Where you are, when you're home, what mood you're in, whether you're nearby. These aren't small details to your dog. They are the entire framework of their existence. So when you leave, something pretty significant happens. From your perspective, you're doing something completely ordinary. You grabbed your keys, maybe you said bye, and you walked out the door. It took 30 seconds. You didn't think twice about it. You've got things to do. Life doesn't stop. But for your dog, in that moment, the center of their world just disappeared. And here's what makes the time thing so striking. Because their sense of time is so wrapped up in your presence, your absence doesn't just feel like waiting. It distorts how they experience the hours. When you're home, there's constant input. Sounds, movements, smells, interaction. Time is full. But when you leave, especially if your dog struggles with being alone, that fullness vanishes. What's left is a kind of waiting state, and waiting without any framework to measure duration, without any understanding of when it will end, hits very differently than it does for us. You can wait for something because you know roughly how long it will take. Your dog doesn't have that. Every moment of your absence is just open, unresolved. Animal behaviorists who study separation anxiety in dogs describe something that's hard to read without feeling it a little yourself. Dogs in a state of distress over their owner's absence aren't just bored. They're in a kind of suspended alert. They're listening for you, watching the door, catching traces of your scent and being confused because the smell says you were here, but their eyes say you're not. The cognitive and emotional experience of that is genuinely difficult for them. And the longer you're gone, the more that scent fades, the more uncertain their world becomes. This is why some dogs show almost no reaction when you leave for 5 minutes versus an hour. The scent is still strong. The routine is still intact. The world still feels like you could walk back in any second. But extend that absence, or disrupt the routine unpredictably, and everything shifts. The emotional weight of your absence builds, and then you come back. Here's a moment almost every dog owner knows. You've been gone, maybe a few hours, maybe just a long day. You put your key in the door, and before you've even turned the handle, you can hear it. The scrambling, the whimpering, sometimes full-on crying. You open the door, and your dog greets you like you have just returned from a war. They are spinning, they are jumping, they can't contain themselves. And you might laugh, or feel embarrassed if there's someone with you, or gently push them down and say, okay, settle down. But stop for a second and actually take that in. That reaction isn't performance. It isn't drama. That is the genuine release of hours of unresolved tension. That's what your return means to them. It means time is whole again. The world makes sense again. The scent is real, and so are you. There's something almost unbearably tender about that, if you let yourself feel it. This animal, who has no way to understand what an hour is, who can't read a clock, who can't call you, who can't distract themselves with anything that takes their mind fully off you, has been holding on in whatever way a dog holds on, waiting for the moment the door opens. And when it does, the relief is total. You are not just someone they love. You are their anchor to time itself. When you're present, moments have texture and rhythm. There's the morning stretch, the scratch behind the ears, the familiar weight of your footsteps through the hallway. There's the sound of your voice, the way you smell after a shower versus after a run, the specific energy you carry when you come home happy versus tired versus stressed. Dogs read all of this. They read you constantly and deeply, and it becomes the pulse of their day. Without it, the day has no pulse. This changes something when you really absorb it. Not in a guilt trip kind of way. Not to make you feel terrible every time you leave for work, but in a way that makes the everyday moments feel more significant. The 5 minutes you spend sitting on the floor with your dog before you leave. The way you greet them when you come home, even if you're tired, even if you've got groceries in both hands. The afternoon walk that's more for them than for you. These aren't just nice things to do. They are, for your dog, literally how time feels. You are the rhythm they live inside. And that cuts both ways. It means the quality of your presence matters more than most of us realize. A distracted, half their interaction is not the same as 10 minutes of actual contact. Dogs feel the difference. They always feel the difference. They are reading you even when you think you're not doing anything worth reading. There are things you can do, practically speaking, to help your dog's experience of time feel less unsettling. Consistent routines are enormously powerful. If the walk happens around the same time, if meals are predictable, if your comings and goings have some rhythm to them, your dog builds their internal clock around that and the waiting becomes less uncertain. Some people leave a piece of worn clothing near where their dog rests. Not because it's a cute idea, but because it works. The scent is grounding. It communicates presence even in absence. Puzzle toys and activities that engage your dog's mind before you leave can help bridge the gap. Not because they'll forget you're gone, but because engagement replaces some of that suspended, alert waiting with something to do. But more than any specific tip, what matters is understanding what's actually happening inside your dog when you're not there. Because it reframes everything. It makes the reunion at the door feel less like excessive excitement you have to manage and more like something that deserves a real response. Eye contact, a real hello, 30 seconds on the floor. That's not spoiling them. That's meeting them in the moment they've been waiting for, with the seriousness it deserves. Your dog doesn't understand Monday from Saturday. They don't know if you were gone for 2 hours or 7. They don't know if tomorrow is a holiday or a work day. But they know one thing with absolute certainty. When you're there, their world is complete. And when you're not, they are waiting, in the truest, most whole-body sense of that word, for it to be complete again. You don't just leave the house. You change how time feels for them. And every single time you come back, you're not just walking through a door. You're giving them back the thing that makes their day make sense. You're giving them back their world. That's what you are to your dog. Not just an owner, not just a provider. You are how they experience time itself.